So I'll take Oregon to win. I'll take Oregon to cover.
Last up today, we'll do this quickly. College football playoff. It's kind of a buy or sell. Explain to the people what we're doing here, Cole, and then we'll do it quickly and get out.
Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to rank the teams as what we have seen in the initial playoff rankings in order of how we think most likely to make the college football playoff, least likely to make the college football playoff. So it can be in any type of order that you want, but the team that you currently are looking at, if they're at number 12, you think they're going to be out before we get to this month of December. If they're at number 1, they're going to be in the playoff. They can lose a game and nothing matters at this point.
So the team, I'm going to say that Ohio State's the biggest lock to get in.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I'll switch that. The game, I really 1 and 2 feel like the most sure thing to me. And so it's hard to differentiate. I'll say Indiana is the biggest lock because they don't play Michigan regular season and the result of the Big Ten championship is irrelevant. Yeah. So I'll say Indiana is the biggest lock. I still think Ohio State would get in at 11 and 2, right? If they lost to Michigan and lost to Indiana, although that would leave a pretty bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, and maybe that wouldn't be the case. But I'll say Indiana is the biggest lock to get in at this point.
Indiana is the biggest lock to get in because if I do not see them losing a regular season game, it doesn't matter what happens in Indianapolis. Now, number 2, I agree. I believe it is going to be Ohio State.
At 3, I'll go Alabama.
Okay.
I'm going Alabama. I maybe just so that I'm not going down the rankings, but A&M has a tough one against Missouri, which we didn't talk about today. They have Texas at the end of the year. If they were to lose 2 of their last couple of games and miss Atlanta, I still think they get in with the win over Notre Dame. I think that'll be used to justify. But I don't see Bama losing any. Bama could lose one of their last 3 games, and because it's only 1 conference loss, they still get the trip to Atlanta. They have the head-to-head over Georgia. They have the head-to-head. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Bama 3. Maybe I'm just trying to be controversial because it might be A&M because of where they're at record-wise, but I'll go Bama.
Don't be surprised when I tell you this one. At number 3, I got Texas Tech.
Oh,
I think Texas Tech, I believe, is winning this weekend. If Texas Tech wins this weekend, next week they face off against UCF at home. Then they get a bye, and then they face off against West Virginia.
Yeah, they're winning.
I do not see them at this point going 10-2. If they win this one, they go 11-1. An 11-1 team, even before the college football conference championship weekend, would get in. I think Texas Tech goes 11-1. Therefore, they're a lock for the college football playoff.
So I'm actually going to skip A&M again. I'm going to go with, I'm going to say Ole Miss. I'm going to put Ole Miss next. So I guess that would be 5 for me.
That'd be 4.
4. Yeah. I think Ole Miss, and maybe that's sacrilegious again, not doing A&M just yet, but they still have the game against South Carolina. They still have the game against Texas. They still have the game against Missouri this weekend. I'll go Ole Miss here. They can afford a loss. That's the thing about Ole Miss at 6 to me is they can lose to Florida next week and be fine. They could lose the game against Mississippi State at the end of the year, and I think they'll be fine. So Ole Miss is a lock to me.
I will make it a little bit easier on the Aggie Nation. I think that you are number 4. I don't think that you will lose to South Carolina, and I do not think that you will lose to Samford. Therefore, if you go 10-2, you may not make it to Atlanta anymore, but you still will be in the college football playoff. So I go at number 4.
I'll go Aggies here at 5. I think that's fair. I cannot see, as much as they have more question marks left to be answered. If you took 2 SEC losses at the end, what would that do? But I will take, especially, Texas beats Georgia.
Yep.
And then beats A&M, but they go 9-3 and A&M's 10-2. But the last week of the year, we just watched Texas beat A&M. What do you do if you're the committee? Do you just go record?
So Texas beats A&M.
And beats Georgia. So Texas finishes. Texas would be 10-2 as well in that situation.
Both are in. That's easy.
Okay.
The question comes down to is, do they lose to A&M, but they beat Georgia?
Right.
Then we have that conversation.
Yep.
But I'll go
Aggies there. I think they're in. At 5.
5, I will go Ole Miss. Ole Miss is allowed to afford themselves a loss. You still got to beat Florida. Like, you still have to beat Florida. But if you win that one, again, you're fine. You're either be 11-1 or 10-2, and you're not being left out of the playoffs. So 5 is fine.
I will go. So we're at 6 now. I'll go Georgia, but I'm going to skip. I'm not going Georgia there. I'll go Texas Tech. I'll put them in. I think there's a really good chance that even with a loss, they have a great chance to beat BYU and then the Big 12 championship because they have the head-to-head over Utah. They'll stay ahead of them unless they drop one of those bad games. I'll go 6 as Texas Tech.
6, I will go Alabama. I think Alabama maybe can drop a game to Oklahoma. It doesn't really matter at that point because you'll be 10-2. It's a one conference loss. You're still in Atlanta. If you go to your conference championship in either the Big 10 or the SEC, you're going to the playoff.
Getting in. Yep. And they'd be favored in that game anyway.
Yep. So
even with the loss. I'll get right back to the video, but first, let me remind you about our friends over at Sleeper. Make sure that you are using the Sleeper app this college football season, whether you're playing in your eliminator leagues, whether you're playing fantasy football, or whether you're playing the more or less game to make some money with us. You can still deposit on Sleeper and get a 100% match up to $100 by using our code CFA. If you just want to click the link in the description, that'll autofill the code for you. It'll download the app and autofill the code. You don't have to do any work. Put your info in. Play the more or less game with us. Go get the free plays and make some money with us. Make sure that you read their terms and conditions because terms of use do apply. Appreciate Sleeper for their support here on College Football Addiction.
7.
I'll go.
This one gets challenging right here.
It does. I'll go Notre Dame. They got the Pitt game. But I think the committee is not leaving Notre Dame out if they win out. Doesn't matter what Miami does the rest of the year. Doesn't matter what A&M does the rest of the year. Their brand is big enough. Has nothing to do with on the field. I think that's why they're 8 spots ahead of Miami right now without a great win. South Carolina or Southern Cal's a good win. I'll go Notre Dame.
This where it gets a little bit more challenging. I go Georgia, and I don't feel comfortable saying it, but I do go Georgia. I don't think that they will go unscathed. They've been playing with fire far too long to where they will get burnt. But what if they get burnt by Georgia Tech in Atlanta? Okay, what's a non-conference loss? You're still in the hunt for a berth. You still have a win over top 12 Texas. Your only loss at conference play is to Alabama.
And you beat Ole Miss. Yeah.
Yeah, and you beat Ole Miss. So you're fine. I think that's a fair 7.
I'll go Georgia there too. Or I guess I have Georgia at 8 because I'm one ahead of you, but I'll go Georgia there too. They can afford a loss. It doesn't. I don't even think it matters. If they lost to Texas and then beat Georgia Tech, I think they'd be fine. I'll go Georgia here at 8.
I go BYU next at 8. I think that Texas Tech, you can lose this one. Technically, you could lose to TCU, UCF, or Cincinnati and still be 10-2 and still have an opportunity to go to the college football playoff. Or you end up going 10-2. Utah goes 10-2. You have the head-to-head against them. Is there a common opponent that you would lose to? Let's say somehow, some way, the numbers look it out to where Utah goes to the Big 12 championship. They lose Texas Tech. I think that still you end up getting the benefit of the doubt at 10-2 and you get in. So I put you at 8.
So this is 9 for me. I'll go Oregon here. I do think that even with a loss in one of their last 3 games, they will have 2 quality wins in their last 2 games. And I cannot imagine a scenario in my mind where the Big Ten only gets 2 teams in. I just think it's way too political for that. So maybe kind of like the Notre Dame one where I think their logo carries some weight. I will say Oregon is my, what is this, 9? Yeah, we'll go with that.
9 for me too. I won't spend a lot of time. They could go 10-2. If you're 10-2, you're in.
Yep. Here's where it gets interesting. So 10 is the cutoff at this moment because there is going to be an ACC team in this, whether you want it or not. And there's going to be a group of 5 team in this, whether you want it or not. So 10, I feel like is a really important line to get to. I will go with, I'll put BYU here. I'll say they find a way to get in and I'll end it there. I think that it's tough because I think they kind of need to split, but again, if we see them lose 2 games to Texas Tech and Texas Tech's in our top 5 or 6, like where does that shake out? So I think a big question is what happens if they go 11-2 and both losses are to Texas Tech? Do they still get in there?
I think so.
Okay. So then I'm going to go them at 10.
I almost put Memphis here because I do like Memphis' schedule down the stretch. Tulane, Navy, and you also have one more matchup against East Carolina. You should be favored in all three of them, and you get a bye week in between. But again, I agree with you. I think Notre Dame, if you're 10-2, you're a lot to get on in. So I'll put you in the 10 spot. But I do think that game against Pitt, very, very tricky. If they lose to Pitt and you're 9-3, you're not getting in. You don't have a conference championship that you can hold your hat on.
What is the American Conference Championship? Is that a rematch with USF?
Right now it would be. But no, right now it'd be North Texas. No, it would be USF because USF has the head-to-head win over North Texas.
And North Texas did, yeah. And so if USF wins that, do they go?
I think USF would go then. And this is where I want to go ahead and bring this up real fast. The College Football Playoff Committee, every single week, I don't care if you put them at number 25. You have to have a G5 team in every single ranking. Because then what's the point of saying, well, Louisville beat JMU on a Friday night, but JMU has looked like the more complete team as of late. And JMU has the better loss because Memphis has a loss to UAB, but they have a win over an SEC team. So every single week, the 25 spot needs to at least be a G5 team.
Yeah, we need to know. And I also, what's tough for me is there's so much cloak and dagger with this, but I would love to know, was it Memphis 32, JMU 37, and USF 40? Like, I want to know how, and then if USF wins this week, are they 36 and everybody jumps up a couple of spots? Like, where are they in relation to each other? Like, is Memphis thought of as worlds better than these other two teams? Are they relatively close? Like, Memphis beat them on a last drive. So I don't know. I have questions about the way that that's done. So I gave 10, 11. I'll go Memphis at this point. Not a ton of confidence, but I will go Memphis.
Memphis as well. I don't need to spend a lot of time. Memphis. I think Memphis does end up going to the playoff because I don't think they lose another game, but it is a G5 school. I'm not sure.
And then 12. What's the wild card here? You know what? I've gone first every single time. I'm making you do this one.
Well, it's Virginia as being the team that I'd have.
The ACC.
Yeah. So I don't think Virginia does it. I think Virginia loses to Duke, so that automatically gives them finally a conference loss. I still think it's going to be Louisville and Georgia Tech playing in Atlanta and playing in Charlotte. So they're the team out because I don't think they're going to get the job done.
Who would go to Charlotte right now?
I believe it's Louisville and I believe it's Louisville and Virginia because Virginia is currently undefeated in ACC play for some reason since that game against NC State doesn't count as a conference game.
So we're confident that Georgia Tech has the tiebreaker over Louisville? Or we?
Oh, they haven't played against each other, so you have to find a common opponent right now. And the common opponent I think would be NC State.
Which would, it's not a common opponent, though, because it happened out of conference, right? Oh, no, it did. Both of them are in conference. So Georgia Tech would go.
Right now, if the season were to end today, Georgia Tech would go. Louisville wouldn't. But Louisville's also only sitting at 4-1 in conference play, and Georgia Tech is at 5-1. And surprisingly, number 2 right now, if we're going based off of the numbers, what it says, would be Pitt. They'd be number 3 because they're also 5-1 in conference play.
Yeah, I'm going to do a video on the ACC tiebreaker scenarios for anybody watching who wants to check that out. It's the worst, but it got great views last year. I'll go Louisville. I'll say Louisville is my 12th. I think as of today, they're the team that I like the most.
But from a trust standpoint, you would have 12 you'd be Virginia for the initial rankings because you don't trust Virginia.
Oh, yeah, 12 would be Virginia. Yeah, but I'll pick, yes. So they're my 12th. The ACC team was always going to be my 12th. Yeah. No matter who finds it in. And, but I mean, so they will be the 11 seed. I think they'll stay ahead of Memphis. But yeah, I'll say my prediction for the ACC at this moment is Louisville to win the conference. And
I go Georgia Tech. I'm still not giving up on the Yellow Jackets. I refuse to.
Yeah.
I refuse to do it.
That is our show. If you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button on your way out, if you want to click the video on the screen to see me and Graham break down the college football playoff from last night, you certainly can do that. Cole Thompson, TJ Pittenger, and the absent Tom Hannafin signing off.